It's crazy how we assume the role of the judge, only to judge and condemn someone or something we know nothing about and simply don't understand. We are not the judge, and we are told in scriptures not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So if you think you know what is good or evil, then you are eating from the tree of death and have assumed the role of the judge. He's an example of how we judge and condemn people with no rhyme or reason simply because we have nothing better to do, need to entertain ourselves, and kill time. After completing some work for a neighbor that is no longer physically capable of doing the work himself, we spoke about how to advertise my brand new home service business. He told me that sitting in my home doing nothing isn't going to help me grow my business. Okay, interesting. So I expressed that he doesn't know what he's talking about and that he has no idea what I've been doing this whole time. Then I questioned what made him assume that I'm sitting inside my home doing nothing. He continued to tell me that I need to go out and meet people, tell them what I can do for them, and hand out business cards. Although he's not wrong, again, I expressed that he doesn't know what he's talking about and obviously has no idea what I've been doing. I asked him how to hand out the business cards that I didn't have without sitting in my home, creating the design, organizing a company to print them, ordering them, and getting them delivered. I asked him how to go out, meet people, and offer them my services with the work vehicle that I didn't have without sitting in my home, finding one that suited me, going back and forth with the dealership and finance companies, organizing all of the paperwork, going back and forth with insurance companies for the vehicle, getting the car delivered from Melbourne to Sydney, having to drive 2.5 hours to pick it up, drive 35 minutes to pick up my mum and her car, drive mum's car 35 minutes to pick up the car I drove down in, drive 35 minutes back to swap the vehicles, leave the other car in Sydney to be sold, and then finally drive another 3 hours to get back home with the work vehicle. I asked him how to complete the work I'm supposed to offer everyone without being in my home and transferring all the tools from my garage to the work vehicle, setting it up and organizing it to complete said work. I asked him, now that I have the work vehicle and it's set up, how to introduce myself as a real business with the company uniforms I don't yet have without sitting in my home, selecting the right style, designing mock-ups, organizing the appropriate partners to supply them, ordering them, getting them printed and delivered. I asked him how to advertise the brand new business without sitting in my home, selecting the name, designing the logo, purchasing the business name, business insurance, website, email, designing and setting up the website, setting up the email, making sure the email works and people can actually contact me from the website, creating and setting up the social profiles, adding enough content to look legit, and creating and setting up the Google business profile that I'm still going back and forth trying to get approved so that people can find me online. To be honest, I didn't ask all these questions physically. And I didn't ask these questions with such details. I covered all this under the simple statement of, quote unquote, Gary, you have no idea what the fuck I've been doing. For someone that knows what type of drink I bring home from the grocery store, the price of my house that's for sale, how new the number plates on my car are, what everyone in town has said about the price of my house that's for sale, and what color my underwear is on Thursdays. He sure hasn't paid enough attention to all the quote unquote nothings that I've been doing whilst at home. Obviously, the close eye he's been keeping on all the renovations I've been doing on said home have all of a sudden slipped his old mind. Let's not mention the fact that I renovated my entire home since I've been here. Let's not mention that this whole time I've been at home renovating it, I wrote, edited, and published 11 books. You can buy them on Amazon. You can download the first seed for free. These are in the comments. These are in the description. I'm not lying. You can look for yourself. You can check out my author profile. Let's not mention that besides the 11 books that I've published, I have literally started and made great progress with at least another 10 books. And let's not mention that this whole time that I've been renovating my entire home and published 11 books and made great progress on another 10 books, I've also had 2 dogs to look after. Yet someone will hear all of this, have it totally go over their head, and think that this old man is right and I should just go, quote unquote, do the work. If they listen to anyone on the internet talking about how to grow a business, then of course they'll think this old man is right. If you're comfortable starting a home service business, showing up to a potential client's home with a red 1995 hatchback and an Adidas t-shirt, so you can say that you quote unquote hustled from the ground up, be my guest. But if you don't even look like you can service their home, don't be surprised when people don't take you seriously because you don't take yourself seriously. So we can assume the role of the judge and condemn others for apparently sitting at home doing nothing, yet they have no idea that this whole time I've been doing the fucking work. All of this stuff that I've been doing is part of business, whether you like it or not. And whether you do it now or you do it later, I'm not procrastinating. I'm not wasting any fucking time. All of these things that I've done or I'm in the process of getting done eventually need to get done regardless. But we sit on our pedestal doing nothing but watching what everyone and everything else does just to judge and condemn them for apparently doing nothing. Yeah, you're right, Gary. I've done nothing. So I shouldn't have done all this. I should have just walked outside and handed imaginary business cards to imaginary people with my imaginary work vehicle whilst wearing my imaginary uniform. This is coming from the old man that's probably listening to me record this. The old man that talks about how business is shit because he sells antiques in his home, at the front of his home. And he complains about how fucking terrible business is. And he's telling me how to run a business. Yeah, you're right, Gary. Unlike you, I don't sit in my car at the front of my house watching the world go by just to fucking judge and condemn it. So I'll ask you, Gary with 2 R's, who's the one that's been doing nothing?
He's one of the best scientific minds we have today.